Hello everyone and welcome to mission 1 of our Bluetext lab, in which we're going to be creating a very simple snake game. We do, however, encourage you to be a bit creative and try come up with something else. Before we continue, it's important to familiarize you with what we have actually installed on the dev machines, what we will be using them for, and how to set up Klein. So the two main extensions which we're going to be using today from our taskbar on the left are the Bluetext extension and Klein. The Bluetext extension is essentially what we've created to call our tools that help set up the infrastructure of our project, and Klein is our coding agent that's going to be actually making inline changes to the logic. For instance, we would use Bluetext to add a front end or add an API, and then we would ask Klein to maybe change the front end or create new endpoints for the API. Head over to Klein to set up the API key and select the right model. When you log into Klein, a pop-up will come up saying get started for free or use your own API key. Select use your own API key. Then enter the API key we provided for you and select Open Router as the API provider. Then finally, for the model, select Gemini 3 Pro Preview. Ensure that you are sitting in the Lab 1 directory. We've created dedicated directories for each of the labs. If you're not, however, the extension will automatically prompt you to switch here, if you're not already. If you're watching this video, you've probably already opened the Bluetext extension, selected Start Lab, and watched the first video. From here, we can start calling tools. We're going to be creating a very simple game that only requires a front end. So head over to the Add and Run Service tool to see the drop-down. For the template, select React Web App, and for the name, you can name anything as long as it's just one word. I decided to name mine Snake Game. Then press Run Tool. You'll see a lot of different steps have been completed. Mainly, our template has been scaffolded and our service is now running, and it's exposed at localhost 51732. We can copy this address and paste it into Chromium. You will first have to sign into Chromium, but you can find the credentials the same place you found the credentials for the dev machine. We can then paste the address here and have a look at the template, the raw template, before we ask Klein to make any changes. This is essentially what Klein will see and where it'll start making progress from or start making changes from. Before we start prompting, we have to make sure that Klein is connected to our MCP server and has access to our MCP tools. We can head over to the very bottom of Klein's UI and select Manage MCP Servers, which looks like this small little server icon. Then we can press Retry Connection and you should see something like this. Then we're ready to make our first prompt. I've said we have a front end up and running in Polytope, create a playable snake game on our front end. Then Klein is going to make changes to the code. It might request to call some tools. Here, as you see, it's calling initialize session, which returns development context and ensures that the project is running, and just makes Klein aware of the nature in which our app is running in a containerized environment. Then you will see something like this. We can reject its request essentially to test it, because we can very easily do this ourselves. As we saw previously, we just have to copy and paste the address into Chromium. So I went ahead and rejected that, or just ignored it, and then went back to my front end. And as you can see, there's a snake game there that works fully. I think because it's quite a simple game, Klein just injected it in our template below everything else. But generally speaking, if you make more complex games like maybe Pac-Man or like some arcade shooting game which requires more, I guess, real estate on your screen, Klein will know to remove everything from the template and maybe just make use of the actual components and reuse them. So yeah, when we're done, we can head on back to our Bluetext extension and check the different things that we've done. We ran the front-end service and we changed the logic with Klein, and we can select Move to Lab 2.